The family, as well as the dog, reportedly did not have any physical wounds or signs of trauma on their bodies. As authorities worked to determine their cause of death, a portion of a river located near where the family was found was closed in September due to toxic algae.
All right, so I'm here at the beginning of the trail here, and this is where they must have come in. Let me turn it around here. So they probably came in, you know, having a good day. The weather was probably nice when they first started the trail. Now I did film with my drone, which you'll see the footage. I filmed, if you can see down that way, you can see the trail, and it wasn't that far, so they weren't, it's pretty sad because they weren't that far, you know, to come back, you know, but I think they would have still had to go uphill a little bit, which, you know, with that heat, I'm not sure if they would have even, had they made it up here, I don't know if they would have been able to get some help. But you know, it's just sad, you know, to know that, you know, that family died when, you know, had they been a little bit better prepared, you know, assuming that there wasn't any kind of foul play, which, you know, everything's kind of weird. The whole thing with the dog dying at the same time, everybody, I'm not sure, you know, I'm not sure what that was all about. You know, they said it wasn't the water. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the report, the 77-page report, the police report they did. You know, it talks about a lot of things there and stuff, but you know, they said there wasn't enough to, some of the tests said that they didn't have enough water inside, you know, their little water storage to test it, you know, so not sure, you know, but they're saying it wasn't the water, so who knows. And then their bladders were empty, so they couldn't, when they did the autopsy, they couldn't, you know, check that either to see if the water. But you know, for everybody at that same time, it almost seems like you know, it probably was you know, poisonous water and stuff. But so anyway, so I'm here, you know, at this gate, you know, it says closed maintenance trail. I don't know if somebody had opened it. I didn't open it, so I think it's still closed because it doesn't seem like it's wide open. Who knows, maybe the wind blew it. But so, you know, here we are. You know, there's a little log here. Not sure if, you know, maybe they stopped to, like, you know, get their shoes ready, or, you know, make sure all their stuff was, they had all the stuff for the baby and all that stuff. So, you know, who knows. You know, I know before I, you know, would go on this trail, you know, I usually don't do trails, you know, I don't go nature walk, but if I were to go down this trail, you know, the small ones I have done, I would probably, you know, get everything ready, make sure, you know, all my supplies, double check, you know. So I don't know, but I think the way they packed, you know, they left a diaper bag in their house, you know, according to the report, so they didn't really bring much. So it almost seemed like they thought they were just gonna, you know, go in, maybe walk around, you know, hike a few hours, and then head out of here. So yeah, the whole thing's kind of weird. But you know, if you guys could look down, and you know, I'll try to, well, you know, the drone kind of showed you, but there's a trail down here, and then right over that is where they found the body. So it's, I mean, it's not that far off, you know. I know the drone kind of goes pretty far, you know, in a short distance, in a short amount of time, but yeah, it's just, you know, sad story. So I don't know, it's just pretty weird, you know, to be out here, and there's really nobody around. It's kind of peaceful and stuff. I haven't even seen any animals, so I don't know. So I'm gonna head on out of here. I did already some drone footage, but yeah, it just feels weird being out here. All right, so here we see the entrance of the trail. It looks, according to the map that police provided, they took a picture right up there. You know, if you look at the little opening there, you kind of look down at the map. So at 7:44 a.m. they actually started their walk in, and then they're actually farther down. You kind of really can't see, but farther down they took some more pictures. So they went around that whole valley down there. If they went down, so as they went down, it probably wasn't as bad temperature wise. So this trail that you see there, that's the way back towards the exit. So they would have been coming around had they made it out. They would have been coming out that way. So so here we are. I'm going to go ahead and fly the drone farther up so you guys could see. Here we have, you'll see that the trail, they still had a ways to climb up a little bit. You'll see where they found the bodies, and then where this little trail is, they still had to go up a little bit. And so had they made it past that point, and being dehydrated, I don't know if they would have made that that climb up right there. I mean, it's not horrible, but it'll get you, So, as we go down, you'll see where there's a river, and then you'll see the place where they found the bodies there. So they went down. There's a trail that goes along that river there. So they went along the river, and then they started their way up. So yeah, so there, I made a line there. So that's the Savage Lundy Trail. So they powered through and went all the way up. So I'm guessing that by this time the baby was probably in distress. They were probably stressed out. If you read the report, they actually lost their key down somewhere down there towards the bottom by the river, and I guess they just left it. So they must have been kind of panicking and maybe in a hurry. So they just wanted to get out of there, I guess, for the baby's sake. But so as they powered up this mountain here, the heat became extreme. I kind of, that's where they found the bodies there, and the Alan Chung was found a little bit ways up the hill there. So but his body was found along with the baby next to him and the dog, close to him there too. So they said they found his body, in a seated position. So I'm guessing here there's kind of like these boulders here. You'll see them right now. That's probably the only place that you would probably sit and take a break. But as you can see, there's not a lot of shade. And I'm sure he probably thought going back around the other, it would probably take way too long for, if the baby needed help. So I'm guessing they just powered right up, and they probably didn't want to wait. I'm sure he knew. They both know about dehydration, the symptoms. So they probably were feeling them, but because of the baby, they just went through it. Because had they rested the night, the baby probably wouldn't have made it, So had they walked out, the baby, they would have been walking out with a dead baby, which, they, nobody wanted that. That would have been, that's horrible. It's your kid, you always, you try to do it. You try to save your kid's life. So that's what I'm guessing that's what they did. So that trail, had she made it up, she would have had to walk down that trail. You see, that's like towards the end. So she still had a little ways to go. I know it didn't seem like too far. And you'll see right now as I turn the drone, you'll see, so she had to walk up that trail and then hang a left, but they're already climbing. This is getting higher, so I'm not sure. The temperature was kind of high. I'm not sure in this little area if it would have still been, probably in the hundreds. So she had to go all through that, and if she had symptoms of heat exhaustion, she could have been dizzy. She could have fell off the side there. So it still would have been a difficult hike, to go get to the car. And then once you get to the car, and you'll see where the entrance is, coming up here, you still don't have reception. So you either have to you could drive down, maybe I think it's about a mile down, and you reach, I think there's a little cabin or a house down there. So I guess you would probably try to get help from one of those houses and have them call emergency personnel, but I don't know, because it would take a while to get up there. So either way, they were in a really bad situation. Had they made it out, I'm not sure how they would have got help for the baby. I'm not sure, maybe they would have had the car would have had air conditioning. There would have been, maybe they had extra water in the car. Who knows? But it's just sad that they didn't make it out. So here's a police report, the 77-page police report. Now, I went through it because I didn't want to make this video even longer for you guys, so you could just pause it, and if you want to read through it. So there is some weird stuff. They did have some like mushrooms in their house and some weed and stuff, but that's, I don't know, I guess a lot of people have that. But when they did the autopsy, they didn't really find anything in their system, so it's not like they got high and went for a hike. So but there is a weird part here about he actually went on I guess on his ATV like a week or two before, and he got stuck, and then he ended up seeing some suspicious behavior with some people, and this was I think up north a little bit, down a different area, and I guess he ran into some weird people. So I mean, who knows? Maybe they thought maybe he witnessed something. They were doing something, that could have been a possibility, that maybe he didn't want to walk all the way back around that way. Could someone have been following him? You never know. It seems like they knew what they were doing. They knew that the trail they were going, it didn't seem that bad, but the fact that they wouldn't choose to go back around the other way where it seemed cooler, like it's either one of two things: either somebody was following them, or the baby was in distress where they had to rush up that mountain and try to get out as soon as possible, which it wasn't really the best choice. But I'm not really sure about the weird part. And the other weird part is about the dog, how the dog died at the well, we're not sure if they all died at the same exact time. I mean, and we know Ellen kind of went away, they found her a ways up, trying to climb farther up, she lost her shoe. So you could tell she must have been struggling, she loses her shoe and stuff. But and then the dog, I'm not sure if maybe he died, just from being around, waiting, since he had passed, and then the baby had passed, and then once she passed, then the dog probably just stayed close to probably Jonathan, where they found him. And with the heat, no water, he probably just died, from just all the heat exposure. And so it's just sad. It's sad that they just took like a nice family hike. They thought it was just going to be a few hours of hiking and then coming back out, and it just turned tragic, with the weather. And I'm sure they checked the weather, but it varies, especially because you're dealing with different elevations, right? So they probably did check the weather. The weather said it was going to be a certain degrees, but that was probably at a certain elevation, not in that part where the sun was going to hit, on the Savage Lundy Trail. So yeah, it's just kind of just a sad case of a tragic case, I would say, of just not being prepared, for the unknown, So it's still kind of mystery, because I guess we're going based on what they did, the reports they did, and the bodies. They weren't able to really test. I know they said that it wasn't really the water, but they couldn't really test the water container they had, because it had so little in it, you know, that there wasn't enough to test to see, but it did have some kind of a bacteria in the little bit that they tested, but it wasn't enough to make a definite, you know, conclusion about it. So they said it probably wasn't the water, but had they drank the water, you know, I think they still wouldn't have, they still would have been dehydrated. So yes, and then so they started off about, I guess, you know, we see them take the first picture around 7:55. So around the 8 they started the trail, but by 11:56 they're sending their text, you know, which, you know, it didn't work. They sent a few texts, but their last text was at 11:56, asking for help. You know, now none of the texts or none of the calls they tried to do were to 911. Most of them were to like people they knew. I guess they needed help, but you know, when you're up there, when you're going to these places, you know, like I've been to a few of these. Once you get into these remote areas, there's no reception. So you know, you either need to carry a walkie-talkie and have somebody, you know, check on you, come back, you know, from a few miles away, get a good walkie-talkie, or I don't know. It's the phone's not going to work. They should put cell towers. You know, I know they don't want to disturb the vegetation and, you know, all the nature, but, you know, they should for the hikers. You know, a lot of hikers go missing and there's no way to track them because there was no reception. You know, people get lost. You know, we know the case where people go off the road with their cars, you know, and it's hard to track them. It's hard to find them until somebody actually goes down, you know, somebody runs into them later on, sometimes months later, years later. So, you know, it's just, I think they should look into that. You know, what's a tower? I mean, is it going to cause really too much environmental damage? You know, I don't think so. At least I wouldn't think so. So, yeah. There's what I did find some interesting things though as I was walking around. I'm not sure if they were related or not. I'll just show you a few clips of that.